Welcome, everybody, to the Two Guys Show on the EdReach Network, giving educators a big voice. I am Drew Minnock. I am one of your hosts. You can find me on Twitter at TechMinnock. And this is the 42nd episode on February 12th, 2015. And I'm joined, as always, by my other co-host.
Hey everybody, nice to see you. Episode 42. That's pretty impressive, Drew. That's kind of cool. So,
Very
hey
cool.
everybody, nice to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Glad to be on the air tonight. And we have an awesome guest. You've heard us talk about him over and over and over again on the show. We're going to be introducing Stewart Parker and talking to him about his journey in augmented reality, how we all got connected, and then the crazy stories afterwards about us going down, working with him, his staff, and then you're going to get to hear about his journey using augmented reality to teach his students in learning, and then flipping it even more about giving the learning to his students. We're going to hear about some cool projects and all kinds of things. This is a guy you want to check out. He's doing amazing things. So, Stewart, thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to be joining y'all.
Absolutely. And I know it's a lot warmer there than it is here.
Yes.
I think it's supposed to be, what, like -10 tomorrow morning, Brad?
Oh my God! I came upstairs. It was still kind of cold. I looked at my thermostat, and the heat was on like normal. I'm like, it's freezing. I forgot it's dropping down to like subarctic temperatures tonight. So I've got the heat cranking. So
yeah, Stewart would text me.
It's subarctic. It's subarctic here too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's it?
What is it?
The low tonight, I just looked up. It's supposed to be 37.
Oh, that is cold for you, Stewart.
That is real cold.
Stewart is in
That is
Orlando,
cold.
Florida. So he's in Florida. So yeah, he sends us screenshots of the weather every now and then. Like when we're coming down, if it's really nice, he'll send them and say, "Hey, the weather's gonna be great." Or if we're coming down, and it's cold. He's like, "Why are you guys bringing cold weather?" So.
Oh yeah, he texts me and he goes, "Oh, I just want you to know that I had to wear like a sweatshirt to school today, and it's like 65." I'm like, oh, like I hate you, Stewart.
Awesome. Well, hey, tonight we're glad everybody's with us. We want you tweeting tonight. Use the hashtag #2GuysShow. You can also tweet at the 2 Guys Show. You can tweet at TechMinnock. You can tweet at TechMinnock and at TechBait. I'm like, I've said it 100,000 times. I was just forgetting. And I want to see which one of your students is going to be the first one to tweet to us, Stewart, because I know you've got a lot of kids watching tonight. So have they been talking about you being on the show this week?
Am I moving?
You're moving a little bit now. You're a bit delayed, but we can hear you pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we've been talking about it. Excited. As much our boys basketball team is the regional tournament for the state to defend their state championship tonight.
Oh.
If I were a student, I would be at the basketball game rather than watching my teacher do it.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'd pick the podcast.
Right? Exactly.
I think you're the two pretty cool kids.
All right. Well, all right.
Are you losing him a little bit?
What's that?
Stuart, we keep losing you just a little bit. Just FYI.
What's wrong? I'm trying to figure that out.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we were very lucky to connect with Stuart this past year and have him be one of our DACRI education flagship schools. So we've had the opportunity to work with Stuart and all the amazing educators at Winter Park 9th grade campus, along with a great group of students that have dove into the tool and really used 4D Studio to do some pretty awesome things and given us a great perspective of what it is like using augmented reality and a tool like 4D Studio in education. It's just awesome to hear from the students, because that's what it's all about, is getting their point of view and seeing if it's really truly having an impact. And according to his students, it definitely is, and it's been a pleasure getting to work with them. Brad, I think you were the one that connected with Stuart first.
Yeah, we connected through Twitter, and then we ended up going down to FETC last year, a little over a year ago, and look who walked in. Stewart walked into one of our workshops and introduced himself. And then, Drew, we've talked about this a lot of times, and there's going to be a theme tonight, everybody. If you're watching or listening to this podcast later, one of the themes outside of hearing Stewart's journey and using AR in the classroom, the theme is, we're looking for other teachers and schools to connect with. We're starting to do the groundwork for our flagship schools, the Daiquiri Education flagship schools for next year, and we're really looking for leaders and people who are passionate about using AR and using Daiquiri and able to help spearhead that with us. And Stewart is a prime example. And Stewart, we've come down 3 or 4 times. We've connected with you. Stewart and I have even gone to Disney together. We met at Disney and chatted, and we've had a lot of conversations and talking about how cool it's been that we connected. So Stewart, why don't you just give everybody a little bit of background on your start with AR and then connecting with us, and then kind of your story about how we got together and then us coming down from your perspective.
All right, so a couple years ago I got onto Twitter, and I'd seen articles and things about how exciting that was for teachers, and I was like, well, I'm going to give it a try. I always joke that I am not really that technologically whatever. I wrote a blog, and I'm like, I don't know if I know much of difference, the difference between RAM and ROM and all that stuff. I'm not that. I always say my brother is way more techie than I am about all that. So, but I got onto Twitter, and somehow I was just like the new people on Twitter. You're like, I'm going to follow every single person that Twitter says I should follow. And one of you two, I don't know which one was first, but one was first, and then the other one followed, and then y'all started your show. What about it? When did y'all started in?
Year and a half?
Yeah, 1.5 years ago. Wow.
So I saw that, and I was like, well, I'm going to watch it. And then I used to, whenever I couldn't watch it live, I have a family, I have 2 kids, so it's just crazy when we're here. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, which you may hear her sometime. She may make an appearance. But I started watching your show, and you did one, and I still remember it. You were at Brad's house because something was going on with the computer somewhere.
The AR.
That's right. That's right.
That's when you all were demoing all the augmented reality stuff. And I was sitting there watching it and just like blown away by what it was. And I was like, this is unbelievable. I have absolutely no idea what's going on that I'm watching, but I have to try it in my classroom. And so I decided I'm going to take a lesson that I've always done and what it is, and I'm going to change it up and add the element of augmented reality to it. So that's really what I knew that if I was just completely mesmerized and blown away by it, that it would be something for my students to really, really get into. And so I tried it. I was up and the night before making it and just trying my best, and I was like, I don't know how it's going to work and everything. So I got to school the next day, and I'll never forget when the video of me popped up on the screen talking to them, I'll never forget the look on their faces was just shocked. They'd never seen anything like that before. And they were I was like, I just wowed a room full of 14 and 15-year-olds with technology, which is pretty hard to do.
Yes.
So
I would agree.
I knew that this was something that was going to be really awesome to just get in and dive in with my students.
That's cool. We're honored that we were able to spark that in you and to kind of give you the idea of using it in your classroom, and you really kind of taken it and just kind of ran with it, and that's been the cool part, is that you've been lucky enough to have an awesome administrator, and that
Mr. Stanley, shout outs to Mr. Stanley.
Yeah, Mr. Stanley for sure. And then you guys connected with Brad and talked about us coming down and being one of our flagship school, us coming down and being a flagship school, and it just is kind of snowballed, then it's just
it was
awesome.
one of those I saw y'all were doing it. I was doing that, and I went and talked to our learning specialist, our curriculum resource teacher. Was like, I want to go to FETC, like, and for me to be like, I want to go to a tech conference. It's just like it's not like I think I have everyone fooled, and now I'm opening it up to everybody. I'm not that technologically knowledgeable person. There's so many more people on campus who know a lot more about computers and how they work. I was like, I want to go because I see that this is the future that my students, I need to get into this. And so I said I want to go, and then I'm like, and do you mind paying a little extra so I can see Brad and Drew? And she was like, that's fine. And I was like, awesome.
Yeah, that is so cool.
That's what's amazing, Stewart, is I'll never forget it was a workshop, and you paid, like you said, you paid extra to come in there, and it was great when you came in and we just started chatting, and here we are. We've had another FETC later. That's another year later. I think we've been down. I've been down 3 times. I think Drew has been down twice, and we're trying to even come down another time. Now, so Stewart. So there's multiple things going on here. There's a lot of great stories we could chat about, and over time we've mentioned them. So we came in and we worked with your entire staff, And Drew and I talk about when we're talking to people, we talk about the difference. When we're at a conference, everybody chooses to be there. We've got very open minds, and we're ready to work with them.
Yep.
We came into your building, and everybody had to show up for PD, professional development.
Very different.
Now, Stewart, when we first started, was everybody on board and happy to be there when we first walked in?
Well, no. Okay, so we actually, during pre-planning, the week before school started, the Friday meeting, Brad and Drew called in. We did a Google Hangout, and the skepticism in the room, I was like, oh, did we do the right thing? And Mr. Stanley is the eternal optimist, and it's like, oh, it'll be great, it'll be awesome, I'm so excited. And I'm like, part of me is like, I've been here for 13 years, I don't know how this is going to turn out. So then y'all show up, and it's a Wednesday, and I tell them, I'm like, I'm glad you're coming to our school, and this is for all of you out there who are like me, and because my school isn't the most technology using campus, and it's not the fault of us. We're great. It's awesome, awesome learning going on there, but when it comes to using technology, we're, some of us half in, half out, whatever. But yeah, everybody had to come in, and so it was we did a Wednesday afternoon first session, and it was kind of like, all right, we're gonna listen to what you got to say because we have to be here. And then the next day, every single teacher came. They all got trained on it, and it was really cool because you saw all of that change, and so many of them just getting excited about using it. And my favorite story about that time is we had an English teacher, and he made an experience in the morning and went back to his classroom that afternoon and used it, and we didn't even know. He didn't even tell us.
Nope.
We go in the next day to a classroom, we're showing off some awesome stuff, and the guy was like, oh, I did this in my English class yesterday. And we were like, you did what?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, and the map of the travels of Odysseus. And I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. So they got so excited about it that they actually went back that afternoon and used it. So.
And Brad, what did that kid do that we talked to?
That kid.
We tell this story a lot.
We tell the story a lot. He actually shared it on his social media.
Took a picture of it.
And he took a picture of it on his phone, and he showed it to us. Said, "Look, I took a picture of it." And we share this story when we're speaking because when was the last time that a student cared enough to share what we were teaching? That's a question I ask. Are they sharing what we're teaching? Are they that engaged and interested to share what they're learning? They'll share
on their own social media.
They'll share, a game they're playing at night, League of Legends. They'll share what food they're eating. But how often do they share learning experiences in school? And this is happening. And we have talked about this. Drew and I go down there. We'll go into a class, and I love it. One of my favorite phrases is when Stewart goes, "All right, guys, get your phones out. I'm just in heaven. I am in heaven because I've told this. The kids understand it's a tool. It's a tool like a calculator. It's a tool like a pencil. It's a tool whatever. And when they say get it out, it's a tool. It's not to be ridiculous. They use it in their learning, and that's really a culture shift and a paradigm shift. And it's absolutely wonderful. And your mention about how the PD, your English teacher, we talk about the travels of Odysseus all the time, and how we've got pictures of him standing on a chair in the media center overlooking, because he did his giant map on bulletin board paper. It's like 4 feet by 8 feet. You know, it's a big map, and it's in the hallway. And him going back and using it that day. And so, Stewart, I want to go back. You said your staff, they can use technology, but they're not the most proficient because it's not that widespread. But that being said, that day we had just about everybody creating something, didn't we?
Yep, we did, and we had them created, and we all sat down at the computers. Brad, Drew, and I were walking around figuring out how we could help them and giving them ideas. But we actually didn't have to give a lot of ideas. They were like, "Hey, we want to do this and we want to do that."
That was the cool thing. Yep.
It'd be really awesome if we could do this. And hey, how do I do this? And what do I do for that? And they were all thinking about it. And what was interesting was just from the August meeting that we had just talking about it, and I did a short little demo of it period by period for them to come in, and most of them came, and some of them were kind of like, I'm not sure. So then that day they got really excited, and it's just exciting to see. And I love one of our science teachers. Our science teacher, like, he has a sign, and I don't think he'll care if I say this. He has a sign in his room that says no cell phones, or cell phones away, or something. Has like cell phones with a line through it. I don't know. It's like very adamant that there are no cell phones allowed in his classroom at all.
And he's very adamant about everything he does.
Yep.
Yes, he is very adamant about that, and I love him for it. He's a wonderful teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And we've hijacked his classroom.
We have
every time we go.
And I'll never forget, he's sitting there, and Brad and Drew are showing off different things that Daiquiri does, and I'm showing around different things, and all of a sudden we look over, and Mark's sitting at a table. He has 3 kids around him with the element cubes, with the iPad over, and showing them, hey, look at this, and watch this. And so this guy was like very anti having this technology, the phones out, and that kind of stuff. And he's over there now, engaged, excited about the technology, and he's getting these kids, and that was an impromptu lesson type thing that he was even doing.
That was a crazy thing, yeah.
Hey Mark, you go over here and look at these element cubes and play with them and show them how the kids can use it. He actually took that on himself, and he was looking at it and moving the different things around and showing, hey, watch this, when this one goes with this one, watch what happens, and all this. And it's exciting when you see teachers who are very resistant of a lot of technology integration, and they see this and they realize that it's something that's going to radically change what they're doing.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I got one more story about that day.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll never forget this, talking about the shift from the everyone was a little bit on the fence about it and this and that. Is all of the teachers before we got there, we had applied for 40 studio accounts. Well, in the application it says, how do you plan on using 40 Studio? The one teacher put, I don't plan on using it. And we're like, oh, this is going to be good. And that guy was the first one to create an experience that day, wasn't he, Brad? And he was all on board. He went down to his class, he got a poster, and he was just rocking it. And that can tell you how much it can change and how quickly.
Yeah, and I'll never forget, because I didn't realize that, and I just asked if anybody wanted to share their target with us so we could share it with the afternoon group. And he goes, I just sent you mine. I'm like, oh my God, that is awesome. He had created something. And then the second thing is for those of you who are thinking about this and want some more stories about how anybody can do it. We talked about Mark, and we go into his class every time now because he is totally flipped and he's amazing. We actually asked him if we could do an interview with him because he was very honest, and we asked him a lot of questions. And one of the things we said was, what were you thinking when you first came into PD? He goes, I wasn't doing it. I had to get my hours, and I was just there. And
one more thing.
Said, what was the difference? Yeah, it's one more thing.
And we do anything Mr. Stanley asks us to do because he's an amazing boss. So.
He's incredible.
It's awesome.
And then
That's why we went.
he said, well, what was the difference? He said, when I saw how easy it was, when I realized that I could do this, and then he looked at the camera and goes, if I can do this, you can too. And so then he said something I thought was so profound, and I've shared this a lot. He goes, now I just feel like I have a responsibility to do things better because it's a tool that is not that difficult, and it can be better for my students. So he said he felt a responsibility, and that just shows you the power of this because it's not difficult. And like you said, Stewart, when you first saw it with your kids and you saw it, we talk about that look and that engagement. Once you have it, you can get any learning outcome you want using this kind of power.
Yeah, it really is exciting. And I, like Mark said, you wanted to be better. I'm like, what can I do now? I feel like I've upped my game for them, and just the traditional stand at the front and lecture, or here's a PowerPoint, or here's this. It's not enough anymore because.
And not only that, Stewart, can you share that about how the science teacher at your school that took those PowerPoints and kind of, again, it's same lesson already created, but has completely changed in the way that it is experienced and the way that the students are engaged in that lesson.
Right.
Here's your target right here.
There's one of the two targets she made. Our biology teacher. She always has PowerPoints with cells. I do a lot of cell biology in there for their class for the state standards. In there, and she always had a PowerPoint. She went through and all this stuff. But she actually took the cell, like Brad said, and showed it and augmented it so that. But took her PowerPoint already, and somehow I don't even know how she did it. Took pictures and somehow collapsed it so that when they pull up the cell, it's in their notebook. When they have it in their notebook and they put their phone over it, and they can hit on the different parts of the cell, and the thing pops up and tells them this is what is in the cell, or this is how it, this is the mitochondria, and this is what the mitochondria does, and this is the cell membrane, and this is what the purpose of the membrane is. And so she did it with both a plant cell and an animal cell. For it, and that was really, she actually made it all that afternoon. Well, she started it that afternoon. She was over there with the other biology teachers, and then actually went home that night and finished it. And then when we went in the next day, and she was showing us, hey, look at what I did, and she was pulling it out, and we were just blown away that that would happen.
She did that quickly too.
Right, and that she wanted to, and it wasn't. She was like, it took me a lot of time. She goes, I'm not gonna lie, but
the first time, yep, it took her a long time.
Yeah, it's a learning curve, and she said that when she's done stuff now, she's like, oh, it's so much easier now that I know how to use the tool. I'm in there, so she uses that now in her notebook. So a lot of y'all out there may have done interactive notebooks, and you have the interactive notebook. Well, now this target is on front of her foldable that they've always had that, and they've always had to label it. So now the foldable inside the notebook has become an interactive aspect of it. So it's like an interactive notebook on steroids. That the kids can use as a learning tool. Yeah. And she's also done something, because we have to do where our students are with their learning goals. And so she and the other biology teacher like Star Wars, as I do, and my children.
I love this one. Love this one.
And so she has, based on their level, are they a Jedi Master, are they a Jedi Apprentice, or are they a Padawan learner? And so they hold their phone over, and it says, for this unit, they click on whatever unit they want to go to, and it says, if you're a Jedi Master, you can do this. And if you're an apprentice, you can do this. And if you're a Padawan, you can do this. So the kids now have it in their notebook, and it's more interactive and more fun for them to say, okay, wait, I want to be a master at this. What do I need to be able to do to pull out of it? And she has that for every single unit they do. She's putting it in there. So now they click a button, and it's like, cell molecular biology. So they click on that, and then it takes them to, this is what it would look like to be each level. And it's up in her room, and she uses it, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, she's done an awesome job.
And I've told her, so I'm not speaking out of turn, she's one of the ones that I was like, she'll sit there and she'll listen, but I'm not sure how on board she'll get. with it. I'm not sure if she'll be like dive right in or be like, okay, I'm going to make one target because that's what we're doing today. We have Mr. Stanley got us a whole sub for half the day. We're here, and then I'll just forget about it and not use it anymore. She's actually she's made a target and she's continued to make them, which is pretty exciting to see, and she's really jumped on for it. And I'll talk more about her in just a minute. Because you have some other stuff where she.
That's just awesome. I absolutely love hearing that story because, again, it just shows that, even people who think it's just one more thing or they don't really want to do it or they don't think it's that big of a deal, they just have to be there, completely change their mindset when they see how easy it is, but also when they see the students react to it, you're instantly hooked. Because when you see the excitement on their face and how engaged they are in the learning and how deep they're trying to dive in and how they want to create, and it's just, you can't help but feel obligated, kind of like the teacher Mark said. You feel obligated to use that tool because he thinks it can help his students learn.
Yep.
Yeah, and the thing is we travel a lot and we go work all over. We talk to a lot of teachers, a lot of administrators, work with a lot of students. The thing is you know what? The big picture is this isn't a math app. This isn't a game. This is truly an educational tool because every single teacher can use it how it fits their needs. And that's the big picture thing about it is, that's why, we can show a lot of cool apps, and some apps cover a lot more students, but some are very specific. Using augmented reality and specifically the 4D Studio, DAQRI 4D Studio, to create experiences allows any educator to personalize things in their classroom. So like there may be a language arts teacher saying, well, that doesn't fit me. Well, you know what? It does. And people have heard me say this many times. I use AR in language arts more than any other area because it works so well with writing. It takes it another step because then you can go deeper with it. You can have interactive lessons. So no matter what your area, no matter what age students you work with, you can use 4D Studio to enhance your learning. And really, don't you want that Midas touch? Because once you have that engagement, every learning outcome is accessible. So there's a lot of power there, everybody.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
It's interesting. I have two levels of students. I teach AP Human Geography, and then I have my standard World Cultural Geography. And when I first did something in augmented reality with my standard World Cultural Geography class, they were like even more outrageously shocked and impressed. And what I always say is what's interesting about that is they're like, Mr. Parker, we don't do this in our other classes. It's like we sit and we read. And those that standard non-honors level kid where it's drill and kill for the test, this is something that gets them excited, and they're like, oh, are we doing those? And I do mapping activities with them, and they don't call them mapping activities; they call them their DAQRI questions.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, are we doing DAQRI questions today? And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, we'll do that. So I have to like come up with and figure out. I'm like, okay, tomorrow I have to figure this out. So I have to like quickly create a target and everything. But those non-honors level kids feel like all the cool stuff at school is really reserved for someone else. And so this is something that's so engaging and so exciting. And all the science classes we've been into that Brad and Drew visited, they've been non-honors classes. And they are like overly excited and about all this.
Yeah, we have some pretty amazing videos of, especially one of Mark's classes that we went into, and they had seen it for the first time. They were blown away, and I think we have some video and stuff of that, and that's something that you never forget seeing somebody the first time when they see it. They think they've seen a magic trick. Sometimes they're just in disbelief. The thing is you know what? It's not just smoke and mirrors. There's really some substance there. And really, as an educator, you look at the engagement, and once you have them hooked, then like we've said, the learning outcome, you can get any learning outcome you want out of it because it's the Midas touch. And we've come in, we've seen your building, we've seen your classroom powered by Daiquiri, we've seen your media center, Daiquiri logos, all AR stuff all over the place. We were in Chicago last week, and out in the hallway, students AR work all over the place, Daiquiri education, things that have been augmented that students are creating now. And that's where I want to go with you next, Stewart, because we've talked a lot about teachers. And I was just in some classrooms today, and I told all of them, I said, there are students. We have students creating, and that's a great thing for you. So why don't you talk about the transition from you using it, specifically just you or a teacher, to teach. Now we know a lot of the cool projects you've done. Talk about flipping it and getting your students on 4D Studio and what they've created.
Okay, so I was like, I wonder this. I was thinking, how can I do this? I want to get them learning. It helped. We were being asked to be a flagship school. I was like, this is something I think really is important that we get the students in it as well, not just the teachers creating, but I want to see how the students can do it and how easy it is for them. And so I signed up for the media center because our media specialist, who's awesome. Ginger is awesome media specialist, and I was like, she can get in there and she can help me because these two were in Europe at that time. Yes, so I had no help that I could call at a moment's notice. But so I signed up for the media center and I set up this project that I've always done. We do a lot of stuff when we look at culture in my human geography class. We do folk culture versus pop culture and what are the similarities and differences and how do they relate. And the impact that each of them have on the regions they are. And they've always, every year I kind of change it and do stuff up like this. So I was like, well, this year I'm going to have them make a Daiquiri, using Daiquiri 4D Studio, make a target and make it an interactive for it. And so we spent time at the library. And one thing I did learn is that they may be called digital natives, but that does not mean that they know how to use every piece of technology.
Agreed.
So I did have to spend some time up front. Now, they got it a whole lot quicker than anyone else on my faculty. The kids, they got it like this. They're like, oh, wait, we're done. Like, I was showing them one of the tutorials that Drew had, just a basic one, and all of a sudden I look, and the kid's like, oh, Miss Parker, we're past that. Like, we got this. We figured it out.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, that's fine. But so and I'll never forget, for them, they were like, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to pull this out, and add this, and then the last day we were in there, it's like, okay, first everybody hit live, publish, to see if your thing goes live, and then take out your phone and scan it. And I think I sent a tweet to y'all that it said it was like the library just got rowdy because they all held up their phones and they all saw their experience come to life on it. And it was, I don't know, they were like, I can't believe I made this, is what they were saying. They were like, I can't believe that I actually did this on it. They're like, I never thought I would be able to make something like this. And some of the ones that they made were phenomenal. They were like, I took so much more pride because I was making it and I was like putting this in and everything. And our unit that time was over 2 chapters, so that was covering 1 chapter, and the other chapter was another part dealing with language. And I don't know if it's tied to this or whatever, but the students did significantly better on the culture, folk and pop culture section of the test than they did on the language, and I really credit it to the fact that they were creating and they were figuring out how they were going to do it and put it in there in comparison for it, and then they made this target that we hung up in the classroom so that other kids could go and scan it and see it. But I'll never forget that day when they were all holding up their phones or the iPads that I had, and all of a sudden they were just like, oh my gosh, it works, it's going. So they're just like, for them to create, they were just, and I have some kids like, I can't do this. I don't know what to do, and then all of a sudden their targets were their experiences were some of the most intricate that they had going. And then I had them, they're like, oh, I went home and I showed my mom, and I was like, hey mom, look at this, and their parents were like, you made this? Like, they were shocked, and then some of their parents were like, I want to work with this. And so then Brad and Drew talked to some of the kids, and they were like, so then they were sitting down with their parents and making targets together, making experiences together for it. And I'm like, you know, I remember being 14 and 15-year-olds, and your parents really aren't the coolest people.
That's right.
You're not going to choose to spend time with them to show them how to use a piece of technology. But they wanted to sit down and they wanted to show their parents, and their parents wanted to learn. And I was just blown away by what they did. And then, I don't know, do y'all want to ask me a question?
Well,
You're rocking, dude. I didn't want to stop you.
I'm like, I can keep going.
Keep going. These stories are amazing.
So then I was like, okay, so I always have my students read an outside book for my class, and so I let them choose how they wanted to demonstrate their knowledge of the book and what they read about and how it impacted them and how it relates to the class. So I was like, okay, so I've done a lot of things with this show. It's like, I'm going to make it a broad choice of things. And 2 of the choices that I gave them, I thought they would have all chosen because I know how this is. And it was either to create a Snapchat story of the main character's life with 20 pictures, so they'd make it like it was a Snapchat, or an Instagram account. And I was like, you know, these kids are all about pictures and they're all about taking it. So I was like, this is an option. I did another option where they could create their own website. I'm talking about one of the 3 books. And then I had, you know, do a 4D studio, using the 4D studio, create a target. And about over, you know, I was expecting like over half, 60, 78% doing the Snapchat story. It was about 40% did the Snapchat story and 40% used the Daiquiri technology to make a target to create it in there. And the stuff they came up with was pretty amazing in there. And that was their way of showing. And it was, you know, it was about Malala in Pakistan, the girl who was shot by the Taliban, a boy soldier in Africa, and a boy who rides a train from Central America to try to get to the United States. And it was any of those. And the stuff they put on there and just the videos that they found and the way they were able to edit them, I think it was I had one person, they could make a video book trailer. They actually made a book trailer and then put it on there, created a daiquiri. So they did like 2 of the projects because they're like, well, I just wanted to make the target and add my book trailer in there. And I was like, all right, that's awesome. But they chose to use the technology even beyond a requirement that they had. So I was pretty excited that the technology had gotten into a way that for them, that they're like, you know what, that's a viable option for me to show my learning, and it's engaging and exciting enough that they're going to choose that over making a Snapchat story.
Yep.
Or an Instagram account for the main character. So I was really pleasantly surprised at how many took that opportunity to move to do it at that time. And
yeah, it was awesome.
They're getting better. And I just did another project where they had another opportunity for it, and a lot of kids chose that to use the daiquiri. They presented projects out at lunch about the food and the food situation, and, you know, commercial agriculture and genetically modified organisms and anything and everything about food. They had the opportunity to do that, and kids were like showing them. And I have a student from the community college who's with me once a week, and he was like, "What's this daiquiri thing? It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen." It's like, "Did they make those?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "They had the phone and like all these things popped up." He's like, "What is this?" And so I was like, "Well, I'll show you." So then I showed him everything that I have, and he was blown away. But they had kids choosing to do that, and they were like, "Hey, I'm going to do a daiquiri for it." I'm like, "All right, that's awesome. If that's how you want to get your kids across." And to them, they were like, "This is the most exciting and engaging way for me to teach my other students about whatever my project is." And they chose that because they had to have some type of interactive experience, and they wanted it to be daiquiri because they feel that it is engaging and exciting and will get the kids involved.
Yeah, and we had an awesome opportunity to sit down with some of your students and just to do kind of a, you know, informal student roundtable and just kind of talk to them, you know, and ask questions about what they thought of the platform, how they've used it, where do they see it going, how else could they see it used, do they think it could prepare them for, you know, the workforce when they're done, or the possible career path that they might choose. And to sit down and to listen to some of their answers was just so exciting.
And I don't know if you remember, but one of the students' mothers teaches technology and education classes at the local college, and she said, "This is amazing."
Yep.
She told me, she says, "This is what it's about." So I think she probably, because she's created an account, he said, and she's doing stuff. So I have thoughts that she's going to include this definitely into her classroom, but she's like, this is where it's going.
Absolutely, and that's what the kids were saying too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what your students were saying, is that, you know, they didn't even know that this industry even what existed, you know, before, you know, they saw it in your class, and they didn't know the possibilities that were really out there. And we've talked about even the Daiquiri Smart Helmet, and, you know, how that could impact the workforce, and just the ability to possibly be one of those people that either uses technology like the Daiquiri Smart Helmet or creates for something like that. I mean, the kids were just excited at the possibilities of using technology like that in the workforce. It was just exciting.
Yeah, so just to recap this, because there's a lot of amazing things that are being said, so I'm going to try to recap this.
Okay.
We're talking with Stewart Parker. He's at Parker's GeoCats. He teaches Winter Park, Florida, which is in Orlando. It's a 9th grade campus. He's got a lot of 9th grade students. So by using augmented reality and Daiquiri education, and really the Daiquiri 4D studio,
Right.
We've heard about it transforming teachers and teaching. We've heard about it transforming classrooms. We've heard about students using it. We've heard about students sitting down with their parents, and when we talked with these 5 kids, all 5 of them said their parents have been involved, that they all were able to do it. So I said to them, like Stewart mentioned, he said, well, when you're 14, 15, your parents aren't always the coolest, so the fact that it brought parents together to at least chat about technology. And then I asked them, some of them had parents who used it and created it. I said, all right, so look, so now we're talking about something you can use, but it's easy enough for your parents to use? And they said, yeah, it is. That's pretty powerful stuff. We've also started about students sharing it on social media. So there's tons and tons of amazing things. We encourage you guys to connect with Stewart. We encourage you to connect with us if you're interested in being a flagship school. We're also going to be starting to work with specific teachers on different programs. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you or your school, we'd love to connect with you and get out there and do some work with you, or maybe even become a flagship school. We'd love to come work with anybody in any school that wants to do some work together. Just contact us, and then we'd also love to hear about if you want to be a flagship school, because we will be picking a few all around the world. We won't be able to pick many, but we'll be able to pick a few, and we'd love one of them to be you. So please connect with us, check out all the resources, talk to people, just kind of see what's going on, and we'd love to work with you as well. So Stewart, that was amazing information. We love all the stories, and like we said when we were chatting earlier, we could do this for hours, and we'll have to do it again sometime, but let's go ahead and wrap that up, and then I think we should move on to shout-outs and songs. What do you guys think?
Well, I have one more thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Just one thing. And just to the people out there, if you're a lone wolf kind of at your school and you're the only one using it, that's how it started. I was it. I was the only person, and then an English teacher, she got excited like months after I'd seen it, and she decided to use it. And then now it's taken off. So it's one of those, like, this may take time, but it's going to be why aren't we doing that cool thing that we do in Mr. Parker's class? You know, we're doing some pretty awesome stuff there. You know, can you do it? And the kids will want it, and the kids will almost demand for it. But there's so many of us who are using it. If you are a lone person at your campus, connect with any of us, and we would really love to help you and give you the support you need.
Absolutely, and if you're looking for teachers that might be using it, or flagship schools, you can use the hashtag #LearnIn4D, and you can scroll through there and see who's used that hashtag and connect with them, or join the Daiquiri Education Google Plus community, which is you know, we've got well over 150 people in it now, using the Google Plus community to share examples of how they're using it, lesson plans, target images, helpful information. It's just a great place for everyone to kind of go to and collaborate and meet other people that are using the technology, because there's a lot of people out there using it. So yeah, if you're a lone wolf, you're not alone. You might
Nope.
be alone in your school.
Just to answer some questions on Twitter, Sean Storm has been at SStorm01, has just been killing it on Twitter. So,
Yes, he has.
And yes, we do get to Pennsylvania. We did Welcome Back Day in Pittsburgh, and we did a whole day with them there. I'll be there next month in Harrisburg, and we'd love to come out there. So that's a place we can get to pretty easy. Katie Ann, we love all the tweets you're doing tonight, and then Laura DePew from Buffalo.
Yep. I just tweeted her and said
about friendship school, and I know Katie and everybody else would be interested. So just keep connecting with us because we're looking for a great opportunity to work with people. So we'd love to hear from you, and of course, anybody, we'd love to come work with you guys together and make a difference for kids in your school. So
absolutely. And so as we do that, let's go ahead and transition to our Twitter shout-outs. And Stewart, as our guest, we'll go ahead and let you go first. Who are you going to give a shout-out today?
Well, that's awful kind of you. Thank you. One person, for some reason, I don't know why I didn't write him down, but I should, is my brother. He's out here watching.
Clay!
And most excited because I introduced him to Brad and Drew at FETC this year. I was like, you have to come see what they're doing. And he saw that, and he was totally wowed by everything that he saw. So his is at Clay Parker, CLAI Parker. But I'm excited that I got to show him something that makes me excited and introduce him to some pretty awesome guys. So for that. So I was like, oh, I forgot to write him down. And I was like, I was going to put my brother down.
What's his Twitter handle? At what?
Clay Parker, CLAI Parker. Blame my parents for that spelling.
Yeah,
I love it.
Confusing.
I like it.
Awesome. And then the three I have that I wrote down. One is Tom Driscoll. He's
Yep.
Tom's the man.
Yep.
For some reason, I want to say in Connecticut or Massachusetts. I can't remember which one, but
he's in the Northeast.
Yeah, somewhere up there where they're getting a lot more snow than we are.
A lot more snow. It's a lot colder.
And I don't want to harass him like I do you two because he has it way worse than I can even imagine. So, but he's awesome. He's a social studies teacher, so we have a lot in common with teaching social studies. And we've actually chatted on the phone a couple times, and he does gamification and mastery learning and stuff like that. So he's pretty awesome guy to connect with. And he does a lot of great short tutorials on how to use different things and he shares them out every time he does it. So he's pretty good, a pretty great person to connect with.
Absolutely.
I have to do this one just because I have to. It's my friend Erica in Texas, and I take pictures with Brad and Drew, and I send them to her to harass her. Look who I'm hanging out with. Look who's leading a PD at my school. So I have
look
to
at
now.
the element blocks I got.
Yeah, look at the element cubes. Look at this. Why don't you have a set yet? And so why aren't you on the Two Guys show, Erica?
Oh, ouch! Threw that one down.
I'm not sure. It's an hour behind where we are right now, so I'm not sure where she is. But it's at Erica Lowry, ErikaLowry. She actually just started a new job this year where she's looking at design and implementing technology into the classrooms at her district. So she's doing a lot, and we're actually working together with some of the human geography teachers to do some cross-state collaboration on projects and stuff where my students in Orlando work with her students in Dallas to do some learning using different human geography tools to compare our cities and how they're similar and different in there. So that's pretty exciting for that. And the last one is Colin Brooks. He's a PE teacher in Orlando.
We talked about Colin before you even came on.
So he's one. The stuff he puts up that he uses augmented reality with in his PE class, I'm like, I've told him multiple times, I wish my son had you as his PE teacher because you're pretty awesome. So those are mine. Those are my shout outs.
Awesome,
Well,
Stewart.
Well,
Stole mine.
haha.
Usually I'd steal Brad's, or Brad steals mine.
Right? Yeah, we talked off the air about him, and he was
Make sure we're not stealing each other's.
And he said Colin, and you stole it. I love it. Well done.
That's the last one.
I know. Get it in. Sneak it in.
Well done. Yeah, because I actually had a Google Hangout with Colin today, and it was cool. It was the first time I got to really talk to him and meet him, and man, he is one cool guy, and he's just so passionate about physical education and using augmented reality in 4D Studio in his classroom, and it's totally not the place that you would imagine it being used. But he's found some awesome creative ways to use it in and out of his classroom, and he's actually running a webinar next Wednesday. So definitely look for that. Spark is the company or the website that it's going through. So definitely check him out on Twitter, and I know he'll be tweeting about it with the link and things like that. So make sure you check it out.
And if you have kids, he has, I don't know if the brain break he has, and every day they have something different. My boys love that, and we do all the dances and all the stuff in there. So it's pretty amazing, and I'm like, that's what a PE teacher should be like.
Couldn't agree more. So I'm giving him another shout out for sure, because he is awesome, and the webinar he has coming up, I know it's going to be absolutely a great webinar with a lot of useful information about it, or in it, and just a real passionate guy about using augmented reality in his classroom, and he's trying to really spread the word about it, and he's doing an amazing job. So big shout out to him.
Absolutely.
My other shout outs is going to be Kyle. I'm going to guess his last name is Perry. His Twitter handle is @KylePerryEDU, and he tweeted out earlier today about how every educator needs to be watching the Two Guys show. And Brad and I would be like, we're talking before the show, and like, that is awesome. We need to give this guy a shout out. So big shout out to you, Kyle. Also, Miss Hartle, MISSHARTL, Naomi. She is the other person who works for Spark. She's a PE development and tech specialist at Spark, and she'll be doing the webinar with Colin on Wednesday. So big shout out to her. It was too bad that she couldn't join our Google Hangout today. She had some other PD going on, but big shout out to her. And the last person is Amanda Muka. That's not her name's Amanda Melamuka, but her Twitter handle Amanda MUKA, and she is a former colleague of Brad and I, kindergarten teacher, who just does awesome things with her kindergartners.
Yep.
Brad, you would have absolutely died at the pictures from 100's Day where they all dressed up like they're 100, even the kids.
I was
hysterical.
I was there. Was it yesterday?
You were in the school yesterday. Yep.
Yeah, I was there yesterday. I saw Amanda. Oh my God, I laughed.
Absolutely hysterical. So today I went into their class, and we got the 3D printer out and up and running, and we worked with the kids to print some 3D race cars that they're going to put together and things like that for their exhibition for their parents in the upcoming weeks. So that was pretty cool. So big shout out to her for just doing awesome things in her classroom, her kindergarten classroom. That's mine.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, I've been very busy lately, and I try to have very little idle time. At least during the day. And today was one of those very busy days. I'm at home. I'm not traveling. And those of you who do follow Drew and I, we're traveling quite a bit. And it can be anywhere. It can be all over the world. It can be in the United States, wherever. We leave Tuesday for LA, and then, we'll be back, and then we're leaving again. But so today I hit some local. Yesterday I hit Eastover, my daughter's classroom, second grade. I was there. And this morning I went out to Schwartz Creek in Lansing, Michigan, and that's where I want to give the shout-outs today. My shout-outs are Mary Weaver, who's at Weaver World. I'm going to tweet these links out. She teaches third grade in Lansing. Worked with her students. I've gone out there quite a few times, so worked with her and them today. I love it when I walk in. They're like, Mr. Wade's here. I love it. It's kind of fun. And then Michelle Corbett. She is principal at one of the elementary schools in Schwartz Creek, and I chatted with her, and she allowed me to come in and go into some classrooms this morning. So I got to get into a kindergarten classroom in Miss Hartley's class, and that's my other shout out. If anybody saw my Twitter feed today, I tweeted out a few of the pictures. We'll probably retweet quite a few, but You know, I had one that I thought was just absolutely adorable. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yep.
The one. So I didn't realize this was happening, but the picture was I was showing, I think it was the heart, and a little kindergartner was behind me, and he just put his chin on my shoulder and just looked over, was resting over, and it was adorable. I'll try to retweet it again here in a second because the image was just awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went into a 4th grade class. I don't have her Twitter handle, so Michelle or Miss Hartley, anybody has that, please connect me real quick so I can shout her out too. So it was a great day of learning yesterday and today, not only for them but for me. I love getting out there and working in classrooms anywhere I can, so it's great. So those are my shout outs. Oh, and Chicago Slim, which is Mike Saraceni. He's a teacher in Chicago, in Berwyn, Illinois, and he does absolutely amazing things with kids. We've been in his classroom quite a few times, and the kids are like app smackdown, crazy, amazing.
They are awesome.
I mean, they are so good that we're having him and 1 or 2 of his students on the show. I actually got an email from him just before the show. I haven't even read it yet, Mike, so sorry if I haven't seen it yet, but I saw that it came in. We're going to work on having him and at least 1 or 2 of his students on the show. They're doing absolutely incredible things. And like you, Stewart, it's not like they're the richest or have the most technology or anything like that. Matter of fact, it's the opposite. You know, they're a very normal situation. They actually have a lot of free and reduced lunch. But great stuff's going on there. Great learning in the classroom. So shout out to Mike, and he's at Chicago Slim 1055. And those are shout outs.
Excellent. So next we're going to be moving to Brad's favorite part of the show, and that is what's on your playlist.
Love it.
Stewart, again, as our guest, we will go ahead and let you go first. What is on your playlist?
What's on my playlist? I just want to say Kyle at the Awesome Desk at Daiquiri is truly awesome. And if you have any problems with it, email him and he will fix whatever is wrong with your experience. I've harassed that man enough that I think I should give him some love here. What's on my playlist? I teach
I'm tweeting him right now, Stewart, to tell him that.
Okay. It's because we do love Kyle and 504 at the 9th grade center. The kids know him. Like, is Kyle gonna fix it for me? And I'm like, yeah, we'll get Kyle on.
He's known by name. I love it.
Yeah. So I do teach high school, so we keep up with everything, and my students know right now a song we love to play. Well, I love to play is Uptown Funk, Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars.
Yep.
Great song for us. I'm also, since Valentine's Day is so quickly approaching, and my 10th anniversary is next week, we're going to put...
Congratulations.
Thank you. Next, Ed Sheeran's Thinking Out Loud.
Great song.
Romantic song in there. And then my last one, it's a group that actually... A lot of them I grew up with. We went to church together, and they're a Christian group, and it's called the Casting Crowns, and the song is Thrive. And I wanted to share this one only because one of the lines in it, it says, "It's time to us to more than just survive, we were made to thrive." And so I think as teachers and using this, that's really where we are. We're not here to survive and just go from day to day. If we need to thrive in what we do. So those are my 3 playlist songs.
Great. Awesome. I'll go next because I have a feeling we're going to be here a while when Brad starts because it's been a while since our last show and he's already warned me. So 2 of my songs are from the same artist, and I've really enjoyed some of their previous albums, and now their newest one is awesome as well, and it's Need to Breathe. It's one word, Need to Breathe.
I love Need to Breathe.
Yes. Have you heard any of their new songs?
No.
Yeah, the 2 is Multiplied and Difference Maker, and 2 awesome songs on their new album. Definitely check that out. So I'll go ahead and tweet the links to the videos in just a second. And my last one is One Direction, Night Changes.
Yep, good song.
I like that song.
Good song.
I hate to say I like it, but I do.
I know, right?
Good song.
It's catchy. So I just cleared the way for you, Brad. Let her rip.
All right, I love it. All right, so first I'm going to do a screenshot, or like I'm going to put my phone up here. I don't know if it's going to focus or not.
I don't know if it is either.
Oh, well, there. Apparently I'm going to play a song. Let me pause that. Okay, all right. So I have 6 on here. I'm just going to say real quick, but I'll just mention 3 of them. All right. Sorry.
I was told 3. I said 3. 3 playlists.
Yeah, well, yeah, I write the show notes, so I can do double duty.
I can do what I want.
I've said this one before, but "My Sweet Summer" by the Dirty Heads, awesome. New song by Andy Grammer, love it. "Honey, I'm Good," it's just awesome. I love that song. It's so fun and just puts a smile on my face. I enjoy it. I think I shouted this one out last time. "Young Blood" by B. Miller.
Yeah,
Wow, it's just a great song, and she's a young artist, and she's I don't know how old she is, but I'm always impressed with kids or young people who are so talented. I'm pretty impressed. She seems young, but she's got it together. Has a good song out. And then "I Live" by One Republic. We talked about that last week, but here, the Uma Thurman song by Fall Out Boy. It's just spectacular. Do you know it, Drew?
I've heard it on the radio, but not the whole entire thing. I haven't paid attention to it. The whole title is just totally throwing me off.
It's awesome. Here's a little. It's got a little bit of the Monsters to it. You're gonna hear.
I do like Fall Out Boy. Oh, well done. You gonna sing it for us too?
No, I'm not. But so that's Uma Thurman. I said this one last week. Still love it. "Talking Body" by Tove Lo, out of Amsterdam. That's 3 songs now, I believe, that she's got out that are awesome. At least 2, maybe 3. I can't remember if I shouted the other one. And then Taylor Swift is just, she keeps killing it. Drew, she keeps killing it, man. I'm telling you. Like last week, I did. I don't even remember which one. I'll tell you right here because I have them all.
I'm gonna mute you.
No, you can't.
I can.
But
I'm pretty sure I can.
Style. She has a song called "Style" now, which is awesome. She's just talented. Her lyrics are great. Her music's great. So "Style" by Taylor Swift, excellent. So those are my shout outs for songs right now, and that's on my playlist. Actually, you can see them on my playlist right here. So those are the songs I'm listening to. So
also, we are creating a Two Guys Show playlist on Spotify that you can subscribe to. That a lot of the songs that we give a shout out to or add to our playlist will be on that playlist as well.
I was expecting "Your Lips Are Moving" Megan Trainor from Brad or something like that.
That's on my. So that's actually on my Chromecast playlist.
Okay. Sorry.
It is. It's I have Chromecast, and when I'm working, I throw my Chromecast playlist on, which is YouTube videos, and that's actually on that one, along with Cher Lloyd and Katie Groves. And shout out to Katie Groves. I've mentioned her many times on the show. If somebody's listening, tweet at Katie Groves. Have been chatting with her this week, Drew. She may be coming on the show. She's got a new.
I saw you tweeting at her.
Yeah, she's got a new album that just finished up in the studio. So shout out to Katie Groves, who CADYGROVES. So big shout out to her. Hopefully she can get on the show. We're looking at March dates, so trying to make that happen.
Awesome.
Right on. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Stewart, for being awesome. And thank you, Brad, for.
I thought you were going to say thank you for joining. Not thank you for being awesome.
Yeah.
Don't want to sound conceited or anything. You're welcome.
You're welcome. I am awesome. You're right. So thank you everybody for joining us for the 42nd episode of the Two Guys Show. And we are off next week because we are traveling, but we will be back in 2 weeks, and we're still working on our guests or series of guests.
Right.
And hopefully we'll have that information very soon. So we'll be looking for that. And again, thank you everybody, and thank you, Brad.
All right, thank you, Drew. Thank you, Stewart. Drew, it's nice to be on the air again. I know we're so busy; it's hard to get here every week, but we're doing the best we can. Also, want to let people know I have a YouTube channel that just went up, so I put 2 videos up each week: Travel Tuesdays and Ed Tech Thursdays. So check it out. Stay tuned, and thanks for joining everybody on the EdReach Network and the Two Guys Show. Stay connected, and thanks again.
Bye, everybody.